Hi, I'm Felipe, the Black Power Ranger.
I am the Green Power Ranger. I am Andres.
Hi, I'm the Power Ranger Blue, Lara.
I'm Sammy and I am the Red Power Ranger.
I am Mars and I am the Pink Power Ranger. Pa para pa pa.
Hi there, we're the Power Rangers, and no, we have no right for legally using that name. Today, we wanted to make a podcast different to the ones we've previously done, even though there are no more. So, today we will be talking about some of our favorite animated movies, and what do we think about them? So, are you ready? Time to begin! Before starting, thanks to teacher Maria Camila and You Discover for sponsoring this podcast. Now, let's move on. This movie is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, Marvel movie released up to date. But to understand why, let's look at it. You might know Spider-Man already. You know, a teenager bitten by a radioactive spider, superpowers, tragic story, blah blah blah. He's pretty well known actually as a fiction hero, and is a superhero with lots of movies out there. But one which is surely different to them all is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, a movie released in 2018 by Sony Pictures Entertainment. The movie in question introduces us Miles Morales, a 15-year-old guy who still don't know what to do with his life, and his life becomes upside down when he's bitten by an experimental spider, which gave him superpowers. Not so long after, his reality as Spider-Man dies at Kingpin hands, who's a Bob Moss, which leaves Miles even more puzzled than he was before, cause now he must learn on how to become the new Spider-Man. The film shows us the multiple problems Miles is dealing with, and how his responsibilities overwhelm him, and how he decides to run away instead of facing them. Most of the characters in the film have a background story, which is in some cases deep and gives much life to the story. This is at a point in which some people may even feel identified with some of the characters on the film, making the movie even more memorable. The movie's plot will allow 5 different spider heroes to travel into Miles' dimension, from where there's a Peter Parker who's older than the one we can see in the film's dimension, and has passed through many difficult situations in his life. And with the many psychological problems he's dealing with, he must become Miles' instructor on how to become a hero, thing which didn't make him happy at the beginning. Another important point in this movie is the audiovisual section. This movie's story isn't the only part of its identity, and rather, and in my opinion, the movie's visual section is what produces us a totally different experience that any other Marvel movie simply wouldn't give us. And well, the reason's pretty simple, and it's because this movie was made using both 3D and 2D images, giving it a comic-like appearance while maintaining a complex animation. In this way, the animators and illustrators has a great freedom on each of the frames of the movie, even combining them. Even though this was a great part of the movie, I also think that the sound doesn't stay behind, because the songs and the sounds found here in the movie makes us feel totally different emotions on each of the scenes inside of it, going from making us louder or to making us feel uncertainty. Finally, of course, that I recommend you this film, and even more if you're already a Marvel fan, because it is a movie with lots and lots of comic references. It is a movie you might even feel identified with, because in here the characters' human problems are explored furthermore than in any other one.
Now, let's talk about The Origin of the Guardians, a movie full of magic and beliefs. This movie is directed to all the public. It shows how important it is to believe in Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and the Sandman. They show in detail how the Guardians live and how they influence helping the world. This story begins with a young man named Jack, and he begins a tragic accident in which Jack is trapped under a frozen lake. Earth, the moon helps Jack to be able to save himself from this death. This adventure has just begun. This movie is animated, but for adults, they make like it seems it is the memory of their belief in childhood. This movie could be a classic for the details of each guardian and their life and else for its good animation. The movie that the first time I see the movie was with my family and we all found it very cute thanks to its characters. In my opinion, I think it is very good thanks to the story it tells and it brought me many feelings. It is highly recommended for children and adults who believed a lot in the Guardians since this movie will bring back many memories of good times they had in their life.
Since we have begun from telling stories about orcs and spiders, today I'll be the one to tell you a totally fascinating and beautiful story, full of adventure and memory moments. Now I will tell you about Zootopia. For any age, come this movie with such as detailed story and designs about a society full of animals, showing us the different scales and how they live on a daily basis. This story begins with a beautiful bunny girl named Judy. She dreams of being a great policewoman and protect other animals since she was a little girl. Even though in her story there has never been a police bunny in the city, she will do everything she can to bring order to this city. With many creative characters and reference, Zootopia is the perfect movie to watch one day alone or with your family. Despite being an animated film, Zootopia managed to take on many scientific issues that were not captured by the younger audience but by the adult part. Issues such as politics, protests, illegal trafficking, discrimination, and bullying. It is certainly a film that will be hard to forget, and even more so when his partner in crime will be a Carnifex, who is already his default predator, and who will not stop making her missions impossible without getting her out of her mind. In my opinion, this movie represented part of my childhood, and I have it in my favorite list. I recommend it to anyone. The fact that its animation is so innovative, and that being a children's movie, it maintains a state of suspense and action in every moment is admirable. 10 over 10.
I would like to recommend one of my favorite movies in the whole world, and it's called Spirited Away. And it's an animated movie from Studio Ghibli, and also an Oscar winner. This movie tells the story of a life of a little girl named Chihiro, who together with her parents are in the process of moving to a new city, and just when they are trying to find their new home, Chihiro's father decides to take a small shortcut, where it takes them to an entrance of a tunnel, and his parents decide to get out of the car to explore it. At first, Chihiro was not very agree with this idea, so she tried to convince his parents to return, but they refused. So she had no choice but to accompany them to explore that tunnel. After crossing this tunnel, they reached to a kind of open field that has in several constructions, but without realizing, there has just entered to a magical world of spirits in this place, where Chihiro's parents, after having broken certain rules, fall victim to a spell. So both they and Chihiro are trapped in the spirit world. Then this is when Chihiro required to do everything possible to break the spell and to save his parents and also to find a way to get out and find the freedom to return to their own world. I must say that Spirited Away is a movie that since I was a child I have always loved and liked a lot. And this is because besides having an animation, a soundtrack and a main song that are incredible, and are also very characteristic of Studio Ghibli, It is a film that has many characters, with which it is very easy to emphasize and at the same time to get attached to them. And it's also because has a many symbolize of the Japanese culture. Well, I also consider that this movie leaves many teachings among which I can highlight that are like not to judge others by their appearance, to know how to forgive, to support the people you love and always help them, and to never forget who you are and what is your own sense. And last but not least, I consider that Spirited Away is a movie that has transcended with great success over the years because it has touched the heart and has captivated all the people who have seen it. It also is considered a classic of the Japanese animation. Personally, I think this movie will always leave a different teaching in the viewer no matter how many times you've seen it or how old are you. Also, it is for this movie and more because The Spirit Away will always be one of my favorite movies. So if you haven't seen it, I invite you to watch it. You won't regret it. I swear.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Despite presiding over a range successful Halloween party, Jack Skellington, also known as the Pumpkin King, is bored with his job and finds life on Halloween minigals. I don't know why he's bored because he have the Kardashians' lives. I'm not sure about that, but that's the idea of the movie, no? Okay, then he meets the Christmas village and quickly decides to embrace the holiday, not knowing that he will end up on destroying illusions and ruining Christmas. But he ends up finding what is known as his lost love. This film is impressive and peculiar at the same time, starting with the very fact that Tim Burton, the director and creator of the film, used the technique of stop motion, which is to appear the movement of static objects through and series self-still still images. It took more than 2 years to create that film. Oh my god, 2 years! More than 2 years! Oh my god. Then we go for the fact that we know that Halloween is a day of scares and torment. For me, it's funny, but I don't know the other children in the world, and try to give it a deeper meaning beyond the jokes, and adapt it that so a child that have 6 years old can see it. It's not easy. The songs, the costumes, the characters, everything combines to make the perfect mix between Christmas and Halloween. Now, but the funny thing is why I'm recommending this movie. I could have chosen any other movie, The Minions, Shrek, even Ratatouille, and I can sing the Sprung down, le vent on, le vite on, jeté. Okay, I'm not a singer, but it choose this one because it reminds me of when I would home from picking up half the city with the goal of having 1,000 candies in one night, and instead of going to sleep, but I would sit down to eat them, ignoring the stomach ache and the cavities of the next day, please. But watch a whole bunch of horror movies. It's the best. It's possible that it's one of the best moments in my past. It's so funny for me. But Jack is someone who doesn't feel, who has ideas and looks beyond and always perfecting or trying to show something you never seen before. And let's not forget Sally. Just in this moment, I forgot Sally. She was created for a simple thing, to accompany and serve. But she knew how Jack felt. She was the only one who can understood him, and it's so cute to in the end you could see how two souls seemingly different, with two pants with nothing in common, and could find what they were looking for in each other. Oh, and so we end this with the scarlet and torments, laughter and dreams. Oh, and without forgetting that even a man of chill spills a spider.
We
Are.
The
Power!
Ranger.